Hello, this is Orange Cat, and this is my quick review of South Park Season 22, Episode 6. And to make things, I'll start with some of the stuff I liked about the episode. I liked the first time or two when they made a Red Dead Redemption 2 joke about, especially when police, the head of police was interacting with his wife, and they compared him having to start over in Red Dead Redemption 2 with a new game, with him starting a new life, like leaving his wife, how they kind of paralleled that, but instead of him actually leaving, it's like, no, I have to start over, and how he's like acts like a gamer who is like bitch, like afterwards when she left the room. I kind of like that, and also kind of like the early interactions with the concept of Al Gore moving on from being Man Bear Pig, being like, no one's gonna ever take me seriously, so I might as well move on and become a bowling champion and fuel my rage into that, which is something I actually kind of liked, like from like a where are they now type perspective. But right there's probably where the good things end in this episode, and I kind of alluded to this earlier. One thing I didn't like was so many Red Dead Redemption 2 references to the point, like the first time or two, it was kind of clever, but so many of them were just so obvious and forced. Like when Satan was at the library with him, you just knew like he's gonna make a Red Dead Redemption 2 reference, and sure behold, there was one. And the lot that, and also the whole everything's a school shooting joke got boring fast. Continuing on with the school shooting like meta joke from the first episode, it's just like, oh, there's a school shooting in the Baskin Robbins, like how he was completely blind to it, and everyone's completely blind to it. And it was just a running joke. I guess it's supposed to be some commentary about we think everything's some type of like loner mass shooting when times are not, but I didn't really see it. I don't think they did it well enough if that was what they were going for. And also there was that one scene kind of in the middle when that like buffet restaurant where the wife was with the son and arguing for husband whether Man Pig was real. And the whole art thing I think was supposed to be a direct take on the argument about global warming or not. And he was the climate change denier and she was the believer in global warming. And how it's like, oh, it's right behind you. It's clear evidence, and that was supposed to show how stupid people are who deny climate change are. Problem is, it just felt so ham-fisted, and aside, really didn't fit anywhere else in the episode aside from the Man Bear Pig theme. And it's just a complete contrast of back in the episode Man Bear Pig when Man Bear Pig clearly wasn't real. Heck, actually, in the Imagination Land trilogy, they had him in Imagination Land, thus proving he wasn't real, which made the whole thing with Man Bear Pig being real make no logical sense. And it's South Park. Weird shit happens all the time, certainly. But within the context of the own universe, it was established that it's not real. However, we do get the ending with Grandpa Marsh being like, "Oh, what have I done, Billy?" Implying that he made some type of deal that had Man Bear Pig there. Unless it like brought him to life from Imagination Land, it makes no sense within the own show. Anyhow, I'm kind of interested to see how things go because at least the cliffhanger left it off on like kind of an interesting note because you learned about the whole, oh, it's a scepter of fate, scepter of temptation, scepter of fate, where, oh, it tempted someone in South Park with some gift. And I guess since it's Grandpa Marsh, you kind of assume, like, oh, it's something to get infinite life. Or maybe if we want to connect to last season, it gets some more Hummels or something. Or something maybe just as small and pedantic as that. It's kind of interesting, but at the same time, the whole body of this episode was severely lacking at points. The humor was weak, and they didn't really play well with the whole, oh, Kenny and Cartman would be the most likely people to shoot up the school joke. Like, they could have added a Columbine reference or two, considering that was, at least off the top of my head, the only school shooting that had two people actually do it. And he thought, especially since I would be very local to them since they're from Colorado, but they kind of just stayed away from that. And other than that, every joke was very predictable in this one. There was really just the same 3, 4 jokes repeated. Like, you had Red Dead Redemption 2 jokes. You had I'm super stereo jokes, which Al Gore actually references supermarket when he mentioned it once, so he's aware he's start pronouncing it like the food, which was something that was kind of apparent, looked like you didn't know in the original episode. Like he thought he was saying serious, but that's a joke from I think an appearance he made on the Oprah Winfrey Show way back when, where he said serious, kind of like cereal, and the South Park creators ran with it. I don't know. Like, maybe that's a nitpick right there. I'll admit this episode was severely lacking. I think they stretched a lot out just so they can make this a two-parter. I think this episode and what's probably gonna be the next episode, which of course has to solve this problem, probably could have been fit easily into a 30-minute time frame. I'm not impressed with this episode. I'll argue it's the weakest of the season so far. Big disappointment considering how good the last episode is. And I'll give this episode a 5 out of 10. I am Orange Cat, and that is all.